And after the game, it was like a receiving line.
It really was. Hey, listen, there's only one thing I can remember in my life from 41 years ago. It was my opening start for the New York Mets. You'll remember that forever.
By the way, this is a little eerie. 5 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts first start. Christian Scott.
Yes.
And Ron Darling. Brandon Nimmo will lead off. Nimmo 2 for 8 in this series with a pair of doubles. Ryan Pepio's first pitch is a fastball inside for ball 1, and we're underway.
Well, Pepio's made 6 starts. 3 of those starts, he's gone at least 6 innings and has not given up a run. He's been very stingy.
Including his last start in Milwaukee. He went 6 scoreless innings, allowed just 2 hits, did not walk a batter, and struck out 7. 10 walks, 38 strikeouts to start the year. In fact, he did something earlier this season that had never been done before. He pitched at Coors Field, and he gave up no runs, no walks, 10 strikeouts. The first opposing pitcher at Coors Field to ever do that. 3-0 to Nimmo with a couple of tight calls by Clint Vondrak, and now finally Pepio gets a strike.
Well, out of 4 pitches, he got 1 strike. It's not so bad. I mean, they all were strikes.
They need to get C.B. Buckner. He was anxious to call a strike yesterday. 3-1 coming to Nimmo, and he lifts one to shallow left field, and in comes Arozarena and puts it away for the first out. That starting lineup today, J.D. Martinez sitting as they're giving him regular rest as he works his way back through what is really spring training for him. So DJ Stewart, who's been by most measures the best offensive player for the Mets this year, will be the DH today. There's Starling Marte, 2 for 7 in this series, and an RBI in each of the first 2 games. Mets scored a run yesterday before an out was recorded and then did not score the rest of the game, which is unusual for them. Normally they score late and have trouble scoring early. Only 9 first-inning runs this year. And Pepio pours one on the outside corner, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, in fact, Marte with a base hit in his first at-bat last night to right field. That was bobbled by DeLuca.
It was an odd play because Nimmo sort of hesitated at third and then continued on, and was very close to Nimmo getting thrown out at the plate.
He really was out. The catcher just could not apply the tag.
And Marte takes a slider inside, and it's 3-1. Mets are facing Ryan Pepio for the first time. He made only 8 appearances for the Dodgers last year. He missed most of the season with an oblique injury that he suffered right at the end of spring training. So it was kind of a lost year for him. There's a walk to Marte, and the Mets have a 1-out base runner.
Well, defensively for the Rays, BMW defense, Paredes is in at third base. Caballero playing short because of Wander Franco. His situation. Alex Jackson's been here 3 days and has started 2 of the games. And in the outfield, DeLuca, who started in center field night number 1, replaced by Jose Siri, who made an error on the first pitch last night.
So here's Francisco Lindor, 1 for 8 in this series. Took an 0 for last night, and he takes first pitch slider for a strike. Lindor's year continues to go in fits and starts just when you think he's ready to break out. He has a rough night like he had last night. It's Clint Vondrak, the home plate umpire. Mark Wegner's crew with Bruce Dreckman and the rookie Tom Hanahan, who had the plate last night, did a pretty good job. I mentioned C.B. Buckner, and if you guys didn't see it yesterday, White Sox and Cardinals, 10th inning, White Sox up by a run. Cardinals have the bases loaded and 2 out. A 1-strike count on Ivan Herrera. Rain delay. 3-hour rain delay.
Whoa.
They come back from the rain delay. 4 pitches, and Herrera strikes out looking on a pitch that was at least a foot off the plate.
Let's go home.
I mean, you just waited 3 hours. Could you
wait 3 minutes?
By the way, you know who had the game-winning hit in the 10th inning for the White Sox in that game? Former Cardinal and former Met Tommy Pham. That's driven to deep right field. Back goes DeLuca near the wall, and it's out of here. Francisco Lindor with his 6th home run of the year. And the Mets strike first again. It's 2-0 New York.
Oh, quite a crowd of Mets fans here behind the bench. And in fact, Lindor acknowledged them as he was running around third. Big hug with Marte. What a start.
Well, he had the big day on Thursday against the Cubs when he came off the bench. Had a big hit in the first game of this series, and now a 2-run homer to give the Mets the early lead.
Well, Pepio's had trouble with his command so far. Change up, down, middle. And Lindor went down and got it. Not a terrible pitch, just better hitting from Lindor. You can see from our overhead shot that ball is middle, and I mean, you just the crack of the bat. Starling Marte knew right away.
Pete Alonso flies one out to right. This one's playable for DeLuca coming toward the line. And there are 2 out.
Carlos Mendoza was asked again. It seems like every day he's asked about Pete Alonso, right? I know we told you the other night that he's in between. And when Pete is in between, what does he do? He starts hitting the ball up the middle and to the right side. That usually gets him out of that funk.
You can just see how much he's been chasing lately. Yeah. That bad breaking ball out of the strike zone. So here's DJ Stewart, 0 for 2 in this series, starting for the first time in the 3 games. And he hits one in the air to right center field. That's pretty well hit, but DeLuca will have a play on this one. And he puts it away to retire the side. But Lindor's 2-run homer gives the Mets the early lead. Brooklyn kid, went to the same high school as Adam Ottavino. Playing second base in the absence of Brandon Lau, who they hope to have back next week. Big absence in their lineup. They're also missing Josh Lowe. Different pronunciation, no relation.
Same spelling.
He should be back soon.
Well, here's the numbers for the third numbers for Luis this season. What a turnabout, Gary. His first 30 innings last year for the Yankees, ERA 6.5. Now 2.31. His first 35 innings for the Mets.
How do you explain that? Yandy Diaz takes up and away, and it's 2-0.
I think there's a lot of issues. One, I think he had a real issue with tipping his pitches. That was throughout the league. People knew what he was going to throw. That doesn't help. I think he lost complete confidence in his ability to get the job done. And I think he became too slider heavy, in my opinion, and was getting behind and wasn't using his fastball enough.
Well, his fastball has been terrific so far this year. The OPS against his fastball is .490. That's the 5th best in the majors. Diaz takes it high, ball 4, and so Yandy Diaz, who's had a nice bounce back series with 4 hits in the first 2 games, draws a leadoff walk.
Well, defensively for the Mets, Narvaez behind the plate. Nito caught the young Scott yesterday. Brett Beatty just saw this morning a +2 on outs above average at third base. And in the outfield, Speedy Bader in center, flanked by Nimmo and Marte.
So here's Palacios, and he cranks one deep to right, but that'll go foul. And out of play somewhere in the roof or in the stands.
Let me ask you a question. So if it hits one of the rings in foul territory and comes back on the field, it's in play, right?
Depends which ring.
Okay.
The top 2 rings, if it hits and comes into play, it's in play.
Gotcha.
The outer ring, if it hits in fair territory, it's a home run. If it hits in foul territory, it's a foul ball. You got the A ring, your B ring, and your C ring. I am told that if the new ballpark proposal for just across the street here in St. Petersburg goes through, they will have a fixed roof, not a retractable roof, but they will not have the rings. No more rings. Swing and a miss, and Palacios down on the high fastball. And Severino has a strikeout for his first out.
Palacios takes a hellacious cut when he's at the plate. And this fastball, he swings right through and under.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Isaac Paredes moved back to third base in yesterday's game after DHing the first game because his arm's been bothering him. He's been their best offensive player this year, and he takes a fastball for a strike. Paredes 2 for 6 in this series. 871 OPS coming into the day. Rays are wearing their City Connect uniforms for the third straight day, which means that if you're more than 10 feet away from them, you can certainly read their names, but you can't see their numbers. That's hit hard past Beatty and down the left field line. Digging for third is Diaz, dug out of the corner by Nimmo. They'll stop Diaz at third. And Paredes in at second base with a hard hit double.
Well, Paredes and Diaz are their best pure hitters. And he catches a hanging slider right in the middle of the plate. Ball whistles past Beatty at third base. And then it became a hard play for Nimmo because it really has an angle down there the left field line, and Nimmo plays it well. Just so much power, high leg kick, all of it in tandem, and just releases that top hand.
Randy Arozarena takes a strike called on the inside. Arozarena hit a home run in the opening game of the series, but still struggling. 1 for 6 in the 2 games, hitting 140 for the year. Infield back, and the slider misses high, ball on a strike.
Vondrak has a very tight zone so far. Both pitchers have been a little miffed at his strike zone.
Discombobulated. Yeah. Swing and a miss. Good fastball there right in the middle of the plate. And that's been the story of Arozarena's season. As we look at some of his credentials, 10 home runs in the 2020 postseason. But he has swung and missed at more balls in the strike zone than any player in Major League Baseball this year. And that was a center cut fastball that he missed. Gets the breaking ball and bounces it foul.
He's had a very interesting career. He was the ALCS MVP before he was the Rookie of the Year.
Right. Came up through the Cardinal organization. Traded for Matthew Liberatore, who's starting for the Cardinals today. Swing and a miss. Got him with a breaking ball in the dirt. And Severino has his second strikeout as he fans Arozarena, 2 down.
Boy, Gary, this might be a new weapon for Severino. I think this was a changeup he threw. Right on right changeup for Severino is something that we have not seen so far in his game.
So now 2 away, and here's Ahmed Rosario, who's DHing today. First time that Ahmed has DH'd for the Rays this year. He's been swinging the bat well. And he takes a slider for a strike. Rosario, in fact, is now 8th in the National League in batting at .309. And over the last 19 games, hitting .338. He's gone 3 for 5 in this series. He flies this one down the right field line, slicing away toward the pole, and just foul. Over that tarp.
You know, Ahmed, to me, Gary, is an interesting player and always has been. He's an unbelievable athlete who can't really find a position.
Came up as a shortstop with the Mets. The Mets were going to move him to center field, never did, but then Cleveland did. Tried him in center. He's played a lot of right field for the Rays this year.
Second base in game 1.
And DHing today. Came in as a pinch runner last night and stole the 100th base of his Major League career. Batting here with 2 in scoring position and 2 out. 0-2 from Severino, and he got him. Severino strikes out 3 in the inning and strands runners at second and third. 2-0 New York. Second inning, 2-0 New York. Jeff McNeil leads off against Ryan Pepio, and he takes a fastball for a strike. McNeil 1 for 7 in this series, averaged down to .239. Francisco Lindor homered in the first inning off a Ryan Pepiot changeup, and that's significant for this team. The Mets this year have been successful swinging against fastballs. They have been remarkably unsuccessful swinging against all other pitches. It was Lindor's first home run against a changeup this year. In fact, only the 6th Mets home run against a changeup of their 35. And look at that disparity between what they've done against fastballs and what they've done against everything else.
Keith was here, he'd say, break out the curveball machine.
Well, the Rays have now allowed 45 home runs this year. That's the most of any staff in the majors. That's it. 2 homers in the first game of the series. McNeil goes down swinging on the slider from Pepiot, and that's his first strikeout. Well, Pepiot came to the Rays along with Johnny DeLuca, who's starting in right field for them in the deal for Tyler Glasnow. Manuel Margot also went in that deal to the Dodgers. There's Harrison Bader, 1 for 3 in this series. And so far so good for Pepiot in a Rays rotation that has been decimated by injury. He has held up his end. Gets that slider in for a strike, and it's 1-1.
Well, because of the injuries, he probably would have got the same opportunity in a Dodger uniform, but he knows that he will be in this rotation for at least a few years to come.
Comes up and in on Bader, and it's 1-2.
He has done something really funky with this uniform. I think when he saw it, he said, how can I make this look as different from everyone else's uniform?
Yeah, that's one way to do it. Going with the sanitary hose and the stirrups as he goes upstairs to strike out Bader for the second out.
Well, you can see the difference in the first inning, and Pepiot was behind almost all the hitters, didn't have as much of an answer. When he's ahead, he's able to elevate that fastball, like I said before. It plays up from its speed. Christian Javier for the Astros has a fastball like that, and others. Imanaga we just saw.
There's Brett Beatty, who's had a really good series with the bat and with the glove. And he takes a back foot breaking ball for ball 1. Beatty had 2 home runs in the game Friday night, added another hit yesterday, and checks the swing on the changeup away, and did not go. It's 2-0. Brett smacks that one foul, 2-1. Omar Narvaez doing the catching today and batting 9th. He's on deck. Beatty fouls off a fastball, 2-2.
It's those little instances. That was kind of an awkward swing for a pitch that was 2-1. You know, as a hitter, you don't want that kind of awkward swing when the count is in your favor.
Two coming, and he dotted the inside corner. Strike 3 called, so Pepiot strikes out the side in the second inning. 2-0 Mets. The Mets return home to take on the Braves May 10th, 11th, and 12th, and the Phillies May 13th and 14th. Don't miss these matchups. Get your tickets at Mets.com/tickets. Jose Caballero leading off in the home second.
I don't know whether it's because of the London series, but the Mets have a weird home and away with the Phillies.
Well, they're going to play 6 games in the course of about 3 weeks against the Phils. 2 in New York, 2 in Philadelphia, 2 in London. And one thing I know is that the Mets will not see Trey Turner in any of those games. Turner's on the injured list with a hamstring, and it looks like it's going to be at least 6 weeks before he's able to come back. Phillies, though, have been going great guns, winning 15 of their last 18. Their pitching has been superb. Alec Bohm is hitting everything in sight. That's ball 4, and Severino, for the second straight inning, walks the leadoff hitter. Turner was having a great beginning to his season before hurting his hamstring. Edmundo Sosa will fill in for him for the time being.
The ex-Cardinal, right?
Bryson Stott can move over and play shortstop if need be. Here's Alex Jackson, who made his Rays debut on Friday night. Runners going, and it goes off the body of Beatty and down the line, and Caballero is going to be waved home. The throw to the plate by Nimmo is not in time. And Caballero, who was in motion on the pitch, scores all the way from first on a ball that ate up Brett Beatty. And the Rays are on the board. It's now 2-1.
Well, for Severino, he must have thought it was going to be an out, and it turns into a double and a run scored. Took a funny hop, but because of the way Brett played that, he had to be more aggressive and come get that. And then Caballero, like you said, Gary, on the run and just kept going. As Brady Williams, the third base coach, being aggressive here early.
He scored that a double for Jackson, his first hit for the Rays, and it produces Tampa Bay's first run. So after Severino worked his way out of a jam in the first inning, the jam comes to greet him here in the second. Johnny DeLuca batting 8th in the orders. He's already driven in 3 runs in this series, and he jumps back from a fastball, 2-0. Severino not quite as sharp as he was that last start. You know, we saw with Jose Quintana the other night, coming back after pitching 8 innings and pitching brilliantly in his previous start. He struggled. Severino's had an extra day, but the case holds. Not too many pitchers pitch 8 innings anymore.
You know, I asked the question on game 1. It's just it's such an out-of-body kind of deal for these guys because they don't pitch 8+ innings. So how does it affect their next start? Although Severino's getting an extra day.
And the past results on Severino have been positive. In 6 career starts after an 8-inning+ stint, he has a 3 ERA, but across baseball, that number goes up by about a half a run for the average starting pitcher. Hit hard toward third. Nice snag that time by Beatty. Goes behind, though, and does not get the out at second. Well, Beatty made a terrific stop, but a bad decision because Jackson was going back to the bag and made it safely. And instead of getting the out at first base, he gets none.
Well, you called it right, Gary. He does make a great stop, but even when you make a great stop, you got to keep your wits about you. He's going back to the bag. It was going to be a bang-bang play anyway, so you've got to take the out at first base. Sometimes when you make those great plays, your brain gets a little scrambled. That happened to Beatty there.
So now Jose Siri bats, still nobody out, and he squares to bunt and bunts it foul. One caught the home plate umpire, Clint Vondrack.
Looked like he bunted it almost between his legs, did Siri.
You know, I'm wondering, when Beatty comes up with that ball, is he thinking to himself, okay, DeLuca, fast guy out of the box. Maybe I don't have a play at first base?
No, well, he shouldn't be thinking that because the ball was hit so sharply. He had plenty of time.
Siri drops down the bunt. Severino will go to first with it. And the sacrifice is successful for Siri, moving the runners to second and third. 1-4 on the sacrifice.
So once you snag that and then throw here to second base, it just was going to be too close of a play to take that chance. You had to take the out at first.
Now Yandy Diaz bats. Middle infielder's back. Corner infielder's in, and Diaz fouls back a first pitch fastball. Diaz, who came into this series really struggling, last year's American League batting champion, appears to have found himself. He's looked great in this series. 4 for 9, drew a walk his first time up. And he hits one past Severino and up the middle, a base hit, and that's going to bring in 2 more runs. And the Rays take the lead. Jackson and DeLuca come in to score on the base hit by Yandy Diaz, and it's 3-2 Tampa Bay. Francisco Lindor says step on third base and see if maybe DeLuca missed the bag. Third base umpire Tom Hanahan said no.
Well, a sloppy inning for the Mets has turned into a nightmare for Severino. Ground ball right through the box. 2 runs plated by the batting champion from last year, Mr. Diaz.
So 3-2 Tampa Bay. Now Richie Palacios pops one foul back and out of play. Well, the Mets have scored first in all 3 games in this series. Friday night, Brett Baty had a 3-run homer, and then the Rays scored 9 unanswered runs. Last night, the Mets got a run in the top of the first, and Tampa Bay matched it, and then won it late. Today, a 2-run homer by Lindor in the first, and the Rays have responded with 3 in the second. This is turned foul by Palacios.
Well, we're thinking about DeLuca. Lindor thought maybe he missed a third base. Let's watch him. Looks behind him. Goes to make the turn. Well, he hits the bag. It's just kind of a wide turn.
And Palacios strikes out for the second time on an up and in fastball. That's the 4th strikeout for Severino, 2 out of the inning.
You know, yesterday Kevin Cash passed Joe Madden on the number of victories, most victories ever by a Rays manager. You know, playing this game, we always talk about the Rays being on the top shelf of the analytics department. He did bunt there with Siri to get the runners in scoring position that produced 2 runs. Having a feel for the game is important as well.
Well, he's got his number 9 hitter up, who's hitting a .180 after a good year last year. Sometimes it all depends.
Yeah, right. That's a great way to describe it.
I mean, that. There's so much information in the game, but as a manager, you got to be in the moment.
You can't let it take away your common sense.
Raiders takes a slider off the plate, and it's 3-0. The Rays have made the postseason 5 straight years, despite having a payroll that is ranked in the lower quadrant. And there's a 4-pitch walk to Paredes, so Severino has now issued 3 walks over an inning 2/3, and Jeremy Hefner's going to come out for a conversation.
You know, it's just so stark when you see pitchers from start to start. You saw Severino so uber aggressive in his last start, just filling up the zone with strikes. So you can really see it just the opposite, 180 degrees here in this start so far. A little better defense. Maybe he's not in this predicament, but as a pitcher, what you have to do, a starting pitcher, you have to say, hey, listen, that's over with. The next pitch is most important. I'm losing 1-0. That's how you have to think about the game.
Randy Arozarena will be the 8th man up in the inning with 3 runs already home. And this is where Severino needs to put the plug in it. Arozarena struck out his first time up. Diaz at second, Paredes at first with 2 out. And Arozarena takes a slider for a strike. And now the sinker misses. Ball and a strike. Severino already 24 pitches deep into this second inning. Arozarena continues to miss fastballs in the strike zone.
I mean, I've seen him play a lot. I've never seen him swing this hard. Maybe that's part of it. His follow through caught Narvaez there. Remember, he struck him out on a changeup last time.
1-2 coming. And he struck him out again. This time he got him with a slider. 5 strikeouts for Severino in the first 2 innings, but the Rays score 3 and take the lead.
straight pull.
Well, maybe if he was playing further back, he would have.
Yeah, he's straight pull. And Paredes, Gary mentioned, his arm's not feeling 100%.
That's looped toward Paredes and beyond him for a base hit. Well, maybe if he was playing further back, he would have caught the ball.
I can only offer.
So the Mets have their second hit.
Well, Pepio on the top of the second had everything working. He had the ball down and into McNeil. He had the ball up middle to Bader, and then just painted inside to Brett Beatty.
That is the first time this season that any pitcher has struck out the side against the Mets. 1, 2, 3. Mets came into the day with the second fewest strikeouts for their hitters in the National League, so they've been hard to fan. And Pepio the first to do it. Nimmo flying out to left his first time up. And he misses down with a fastball, 2-0. So Pepio, who normally works ahead of the hitters, has been behind consistently early in this game. He was behind Narvaez 2-0. Now he's 2-0 on Nimmo with Marte on deck. And he tries that fastball and gets a generous call on the outside corner. 2-1. And Bondrak has been calling a tight strike zone, but it just opened up. Nimmo takes a changeup outside. It's 3-1.
Well, Pepio really flying open with that front side. I'm sure his pitching coach Kyle Snyder at some point might take a visit, especially if he walks Nimmo here. Way on the first base side of that rubber.
He's far over, but not as far over as Zach Littell was last night. Nimmo hit by that pitch. He was. It would have been ball 4 anyway. So it goes to the books of a hit by pitch. First batter Pepio's hit this year, and now Kyle Snyder will come out for a visit. He's clearly off.
Yeah, he's definitely flying his front side open too much. You're right about Littell last night. He had maybe a toenail touching the rubber.
First guy I remember doing that right-hander that far over was Kevin Brown.
Kevin Brown, and then for me, Fernando Valenzuela used to do that on the third base side. Barely have a toe. Fernando sometimes early in his career was accused of trying to step up a little bit in front of the rubber. Whatever it takes.
Hey, if you want to throw from 58, it might get there a little quicker than if you throw from 60. So now another chance for Starling Marte, who drew a walk his first time up. That's up the first 2 men on in the third. Down by a run. And the thousands of Mets fans on hand start to get a cheer going. Now, what makes it confusing is that the Rays use a similar chant of "Let's go Rays." That's hit off the pitcher's leg. It caroms over to the third baseman, and Pepio is hurt. That was a bullet off his leg, and he gets gamely to his feet and tries to walk it off, but he's clearly in some severe discomfort.
He should stay down. That ball could have broken his leg. That's how powerful it was hit. Thought it caught him right below the knee. Yeah, off the left shin, 108 miles an hour. I mean, serious.
You know, I think it got far enough to the side that it didn't get right on the bone. It was just to the outside of his leg.
He turned enough to maybe catch the outside of the calf.
It's better than getting it right on the bone.
I shouldn't say that. The inside, I guess, of the left calf.
Well, he's going to try and stick it out this game. Let's see, he's still smart.
Now, your first instance as a pitcher and an athlete is you don't want the hitter to know that he hurt you. That's why you jump up and say, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then you realize, you get on the mound and you go, you know, this really hurts.
Now, this is his landing leg, his left leg. Does that put more pressure than the push-off leg would?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, you see he's landing kind of gingerly there. You know,
I'm not sure if he's going to be able to stay.
I would take him out because if you land gingerly, you could hurt your arm.
Yeah, he's out of the game. You could see when he came down on that leg, the second warm-up throw, it was not stable. So Pepio forced out of the game after being struck on the leg by a Starling Marte line drive. The Mets will have the bases loaded and nobody out, down by a run in the third. And Rays will get a relief pitcher in, and he'll have as long as he needs to warm up.
But Pepio could barely walk off the field once that kicked in. Yeah, right below the knee. Maybe caught the inside of the left calf, but it caught a lot of bone as well. I mean, hate to see that happen.
So Manuel Rodriguez will get as long as he needs to warm up. We'll take a break and come right back to St. Petersburg.
And Rosario clocks one deep left field. Back goes Gardner at the wall. It's out of here! Ahmed Rosario gives the Mets the win with a two-run homer. A walk-off two-run homer for Ahmed Rosario in the bottom of the seventh, and the Mets sweep the doubleheader from the Yankees as they win the nightcap 4-3.
One of the strangest circumstances we have ever been associated with. We're sitting at Citi Field doing the game remotely.
Yes.
The Yankees are playing at home, but the Mets have the last at bat. It's a 7-inning game, and I think that was the bottom of the 8th, or was it the bottom of the 7th?
I have no idea.
One of those. And the home run goes out, and the last thing you're thinking is that it's a walk-off home run in the visiting ballpark.
That was the greatest catch mid-sentence you've ever had in your career.
Well, it was the greatest moment that Ahmed Rosario ever had for the Mets. Manuel Rodriguez comes into a difficult spot, cold out of the bullpen, to replace the injured Ryan Pepio, facing Francisco Lindor, who homered his first time up and nearly hit him with his first pitch. Lindor has hit 6 grand slams in his career. He had one last year in Oakland. Narvaez at third, Nimmo at second, and Marte at first, and the fastball from Rodriguez a strike. Manuel Rodriguez had time with the Cubs each of the last in 21 and 22, but did not pitch in the majors last year. And
Lindor lines one right to the shortstop, and Caballero diving for the bag, but Nimmo got back safely.
And that's the hard first out.
That's as good a base running as you're ever going to see. You have to be aware of where the defensive players are. It's a bullet up the middle, and Nimmo and all base runners are taught to freeze on a line drive. He did, and that's the only reason he got back. Outstanding.
So now Pete Alonso bats with the bases loaded and 1 out. And goes after a first pitch slider, 0-1. Pete coming back home to play on the west coast of Florida. He's a Tampa native. He's gone just 1 for 8 in this series. He's in a rough stretch right now, just 1 for his last 25. But a chance to do some major damage here against a pitcher cold out of the bullpen. And Rodriguez did not take very long warming up.
Yes, he did. He was ready quickly.
Chases another slider and fouls it off, and it's 1-2. I have not seen his recent chase rate, but it's got to be off the charts.
Just you know, you're as good a hitter as the pitches you swing at, and Pete's just not been swinging at quality pitches.
DJ Stewart, the on-deck batter. 1-2 coming. And Alonso skies one into shallow center field. Backing up is Palacios. Coming in is Siri, and Palacios makes the catch, and no advance, 2 out. So the Mets have the bases loaded and nobody out. Pepio knocked out of the game by the line drive off his leg. And now Manuel Rodriguez with a chance to get through the inning unscathed. DJ Stewart is flied out. This is one the Mets would not want to bypass. Last night they were 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. 0 for 2 now. DJ Stewart has been chasing at the lowest rate of any hitter in baseball.
And almost hit one out of the park in his first at bat.
And that slider runs inside. 2 balls and a strike. And Rodriguez has not been throwing strikes. He's been around the plate. Alonso helped him out. And now Stewart's got himself a 2-0 advantage. And DJ fouls back that fastball on the outer half. 2-1.
This is where you really have to stick to your game plan, Gary. Get a good pitch, hit it hard. Got to take that home run thought out of your head, right? Base hit puts the Mets ahead.
Stewart's never hit a grand slam. Takes a big cut at that one and fouls it off, and it's 2-2.
Ball doesn't really sink from Rodriguez. It's got a lot of run on it, though, away from lefties.
27-year-old from Mexico, a chance to dance out of trouble. And he misses inside with a slider, and now a full count to Stewart. So now the merry-go-round will be in motion. Narvaez, Nimmo, and Marte will all be running. And Stewart asks for time.
Don't know Rodriguez enough to know, but I feel like he wants to throw a slider here in this 3-2 count. Something to trick Stewart.
Runners go. 3-2. Outside ball 4, and that ties the game. So Rodriguez missed with the fastball. Stewart showing his usual patience. Draws the walk to force in a run to make it 3-3.
Well, that good eye really served Stewart and the Mets well there. Just taking that pitch off the outside corner. Good job by DJ.
You know, DJ Stewart started the day with a 196 batting average and a 387 on base percentage. And Jeff McNeil, he's not going to wait around. And fouls off the first pitch slider, 0-1. Well, McNeil just 1 hit in his last 15 at bats. Chance to get the Mets the lead here with a base hit. Nimmo at third, Marte at second, Stewart at first with 2 down. And McNeil goes after a back foot slider, and it's 0-2. Just does not look like himself.
Watch his back foot, Gary. This is something I'm not used to seeing from McNeil. See how that back foot moves? He doesn't have a steady foundation, which is the key to any hitter's approach.
Or golfer.
Golfer, right.
Rodriguez with the 0-2, and McNeil went around, strike 3, inning over. Mets get 1 run on the bases loaded walk, but strand 3. It's 3-3 in the third. Some of the many Met fans in attendance. This has been a well-attended series for New Yorkers making the trip down, or transplants making the trip out. They say the folks from Tampa won't come to St. Petersburg, but the people from New York are happy to come. Ahmed Rosario leads off in the home third. It's been a wacky series so far. 10-8 in the first game. Great pitchers duel yesterday. 2 close wins for Tampa Bay. And that's no secret for either one of these teams. Both the Mets and the Rays have had more than half their games decided by 1 or 2 runs. 18 of the Mets 33 games, 18 of the Rays 34 games. have been decided by 2 runs or fewer. Rosario struck out his first time up. He bounces one foul.
Well, if you're a fan of any of the New York sports teams, you're on the move right now with all the postseason playoff play for the Knicks, Rangers, and of course everyday Mets.
Yeah, but there's only one sport where you can eat popcorn out of a helmet.
That's right.
You can't do that in basketball and hockey. Swing and a miss. Rosario chases a slider well out of the strike zone. Severino's already got 6 strikeouts, 1 shy of his season high. Let's check out the road ahead. Your radio home for the Mets is WCBS 880 and streaming on the free Odyssey app. Mets are in St. Louis for the next 3 days. Night games Monday, Tuesday, day game Wednesday, then home to play the Braves and the Phillies before they go to Philadelphia, Miami, and Cleveland on their next road trip. That's a lot of popcorn in that.
It is a lot of popcorn.
I mean, normally you get the ice cream in the very small helmet, but the popcorn is in a full-sized helmet. Just what you want to not do is put a lot of butter on your popcorn and then use it as a helmet.
Yeah, it ruins the helmet because I don't know if it's you can put it in the dishwasher.
3-0 now to Caballero. It's been an odd game for Severino. He's had strikeout stuff, but far too many times he's been behind in the count. He's already walked 3. Caballero came into this series with 1 walk for the season, and now he has drawn a walk in each of the 3 games in this series. But that's the Mets staff. It's such a weird juxtaposition for this Mets pitching staff. They've allowed the fewest hits, the fewest home runs of any team in the National League. They have the 2nd most strikeouts, but the most walks.
Yeah. I mean, you know what's weighing on that man, Jeremy Hefner.
Think how much better they'd be.
Yep.
And that's a badly missed 3-2 pitch, and that'll be the 4th walk of the day for Severino.
You know, we haven't spent any time talking about their number 1 shortstop, Wander Franco. I'll only say this. When you have a generational type talent like Franco, and you're an organization like the Tampa Bay Rays, that upends you a little bit when you've committed so many dollars to that young player.
Well, Caballero may or may not be just a placeholder. They do have a young shortstop, Junior Caminero, who came up for a time last year, but they don't think he's quite ready yet. And he may not be quite the talent of Wander Franco, but he's not too far behind. Alex Jackson hit a double past Beatty and down the line to drive in a run in the 2nd, his first hit for the Rays.
Just when you're Tampa Bay, you're not like the Dodgers where you get a mulligan. You know, you can go get someone else.
Caballero started and stopped, and Jackson hits it deep to right. Marte goes back to the warning track at the fence. He makes the catch. Trying to get back to first now is Caballero, and he gets back safely. Boy, in this ballpark, normally you can't take your eye off the ball and run to a spot because of the difficulty picking the ball up in the roof. But that's exactly what Marte did, and he picked it up and made a terrific play.
Yeah, Luis, hats off. That was just quite a play. Gets up against that fence and leaps and plucks it right off the fence. Just timed it perfectly, did Marte. And, you know, when we talk about how he's gotten off to a quick start offensively, it's the defense to me that shows you that he's healthy again.
Johnny DeLuca with 2 out, and he takes a slider for a strike.
So the previous inning, the defense seemed to give away, but a big play there by Marte.
DeLuca reached on a fielder's choice when Beatty made a poor decision in the 2nd. And opened up the door for a 3-run inning. Throw to first and close. It was an errant throw, but Alonso nearly tagged the foot of Caballero before he got his hand back in.
Well, the throw took the tag right into the foot of Caballero, and he did get the heel, did Pete.
And the Mets, I think, are going to challenge this call. I think that Harrison Friedland in the replay room has told him that he did get him on the foot before the hand got back in.
Yeah, sometimes the first baseman will apply a great tag. This was more the ball caught by Pete just ended up right in the right area.
Mark Wegner, the crew chief, made the call at first base. Larry Vanover and Chris Conroy are the crew chiefs in the replay room.
Watch his right heel. It looked more distinct from our other shot. I don't know what other shot we had. Here we go. This one here. Watch the right heel. Might have got on it.
I just don't know if the hand got back in before.
Right.
Definitely got him on the foot. It's awfully close though, whether the hand got back in before.
A real interesting play to review to me. Now I'm watching Harrison Bader walk off the field. He's seen it on replay. Rindimo's walking off the field. I'm not so sure.
It would be Severino's first pickoff of the season. He has 7 in his career. There's another look.
He's got a funny pickoff move anyways. It almost takes him backwards when he releases the ball.
I don't think they can overturn this.
I'm with you, Gary. I'm surprised that the Mets are walking off the field. They're just going to have to run back on it.
Well, a little exercise never hurt anybody.
Right hand.
Yeah, the call on the field was safe. So you have to have clear and convincing evidence to overturn the call. I have a feeling it's going to stand. They certainly are taking their time.
After review, the call on the field stands. The runner is safe. New York will lose their challenge.
Harrison's just going to have to go back to his position.
Well, Harrison, you need not ever apply for a replay analyst.
Well, he didn't have all the angles.
That's right.
Now, 2 years ago, the Mets were incredible at replay challenges. They were successful 79% of the time, but that was an unsustainable number. Now the runner goes. The throw by Narvaez is high, and it's safe at second base is Caballero. Caballero came off the bag on a stolen base attempt Friday night and was tagged out. He nearly came off the bag again, but this time was able to cling it.
Well, anytime it's a breaking pitch, it makes it a little more difficult on the catcher. And Caballero sliding to that outside part of the base. With that oven mitt, it's hard to grab the base.
Hooked into shallow left. Out goes Lindor. He can't get it. Base hit. Caballero will come in to score, and the Rays go back in front. Just not enough air under that ball for Lindor to get to it. And Johnny DeLuca drives in his 4th run of this series, just throwing his bat at an 0-2 pitch and dunking one in the left field, and it's 4-3 Tampa Bay.
Well, here's the swing from DeLuca. It's a good slider, almost throws the bat at it. Unfortunate to just get it out of the outstretched arms of Lindor, who was tracking it. Not pretty, but effective.
And now another pickoff try, and this one not caught by Alonso. Otherwise, he might have had DeLuca. Well, the Mets would not have a challenge were it to come to that, having lost it on the previous pickoff attempt. Jose Siri sacrificed his first time up. He returned to the lineup last night for Tampa Bay after sitting out a 2-game suspension for a little dust-up with the Brewers. And Severino now with 2 throws over.
Well, this is how badly fooled you can see from the overhead is DeLuca, but still covers that ball. That's 2-3 inches off the plate.
DeLuca not going, and the pitch below the knees with a sinker. 1-0 to Siri. Very nice truck.
Siri's not hitting for any kind of average this year, but he does have some power.
There goes DeLuca, fly ball out to right, chasing Marte back again, and this time he makes the catch going away to retire the side. Two good plays by Marte in the inning, but the stolen base cost the Mets another run. It's 4-3 Rays. Well, the Mets will be putting the Rays in their rearview mirror after today. Trying to get a win before they leave, but down 4-3. Antoine Richardson messing with Starling Marte after those 2 fine plays in right field. If you can make plays like that, how come you're not stealing more bases? It's got to be Antoine's line, right?
Right.
Harrison Bader struck out his first time up, now facing Manuel Rodriguez, who came in after Marte's bullet hit Ryan Pepio on the leg and forced him out of the game. Rodriguez did an amazing job in the third, came in with the bases loaded, nobody out cold. Got the first 2, walked Stewart to force in a run, but then struck out McNeil to leave him loaded. And his slider misses up and in to Bader, 2 balls and a strike. Brett Beatty on deck, and then Omar Narvaez, the lower third of the Mets batting order in the 4th. And Bader pops one up, might have broken his bat. Shallow center. Siri comes on to get it. Bobbles it and drops it. He had it. He dropped it. Siri, who had a play in center field yesterday where he lost a ball on the lights on the first pitch of the game, well, was scored a double by Nimmo. This time, just flat out dropped it.
Yeah, he's got in danger of maybe being taken off the field because that was a style play. He was trying to be a style master.
There's Brett Beatty. And he takes a slider for a strike.
It doesn't happen very often, but you know, when occasionally you try to make those plays look kind of cool, every once in a while they'll drop them and it doesn't make you the opposite of cool.
Siri is an energy guy, but he's a volatile guy. I saw that in that little dust-up with Abner Uribe and the Brewers the other day. That cost him a 2-game suspension. And we saw it in his reaction yesterday on the ball that he lost on the lights.
This was the last out that he drove the ball to Marte in right field, made the catch, and he was quite upset at that as well.
Two to Beatty. And Brett drives one foul.
You know, in a game that begs you to be even keeled, he is just the opposite. Yeah.
And some guys thrive on that.
I get it. I get it.
Not everybody is the same. Not robots. And Beatty just got a piece of that one.
When I was a player, I was always friends with the kind of free spirits of the team, because I said, how can you play this game and be so comfortable and so happy? Kevin Elster was one of my good friends. He was like that. Just
chopper over Diaz and into right field. Bader turns second. He'll go on to third. And the Mets have runners at the corners with nobody out. Beatty chopping one that sailed over the head of Yandy Diaz, and that's the 5th hit in this series for Brett Beatty.
Well, I spent most of the 80s seeing these kind of hits, Gary. When you played on the AstroTurf here, Pro Turf that they call it here, you'd see a lot of those base hits. And good job by Bader going first to third. He couldn't have known where that ball was behind him.
He was going straight into second, figuring he was going to have to break up a double play. So it made the quick turn. Rays are going to send Kyle Snyder out to the mound, the pitching coach, to talk to Rodriguez, and they'll get somebody up in the bullpen.
This is just simply a case here where Snyder's going out for 2 reasons. One, like you said, Gary, get someone loose. But second, to calm down his pitcher, say, listen, you should not be in this trouble. That was not a great hit, lucky hit, bounce, and the first play should have been made. So come on, we need you to eat up some innings here.
Kevin Kelly getting up in the bullpen for Tampa Bay. They're the city probable starters for the series starting tomorrow night. Sean Manaea and Kyle Gibson tomorrow night. Jose Butto against Miles Michaelis Tuesday, and then the Mets will face Sonny Gray for the second time. He was terrific in that first start against the Mets. There's Kelly getting ready. Well, Rodriguez, who faced a crisis when he walked into the game, has another one now. First and third, nobody out, trying to protect a one-run lead in the fourth. Omar Narvaez, the batter. And a fastball in for a strike. Interesting that the shortstop Caballero is shortened up a bit, playing up the middle. Big hole on the left side for Narvaez. And he takes a wave and a miss and a slider, and it's 0-2.
I think he's got to play a little closer to the bag because he's in that unusual place where if Narvaez were to hit the ball to the third baseman, he's the anchor for the double play. The middleman.
Problem is on a ball hit to his right.
Yeah.
Even if he gets to it, is the second baseman going to be able to cover? It's too high to Narvaez, 1-2. Brandon Nimmo, the on-deck batter. Narvaez at a base hit, his first time up. Snapped an 0-for-12 stretch for Omar. He drives that one foul. Bader at third, Beatty at first with nobody out. And Narvaez takes the back foot slider, and it's 2-2.
Good block here by Alex Jackson. I mean, that's textbook right there. Right knee down, got his whole body in front of that slider.
2-2 coming. Bounce down toward first, through into right field for a base hit. Bader in to score. Beatty will go to third. Omar Narvaez ties the game with his second base hit of the day, and it's 4-4.
Well, nice production here from the bottom of the order. Fortunate error by Siri has opened up 2 base hits that have gone past Diaz.
You know, Keith talks all the time about first baseman coming off the bag on those plays. Diaz didn't move at all, and that ball got right by him. That'll be all for Manuel Rodriguez. He goes an inning plus. Mets have gotten even, and they've got a chance to take the lead now with first and third, nobody out, and the top of the order coming up. Kevin Kelly coming in for Tampa Bay. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Nissan. Shop NissanUSA.com. Kevin Kelly makes his second appearance in this series.
Well, he's been an important part of this bullpen for Kevin Cash, especially of late. He's retired 17 straight hitters. Last 10 he's faced, he struck out 5.
First and third and nobody out. Tie game in the fourth. Brandon Nimmo up for the third time. And he takes the first cutter from Kelly, low and in for ball 1. Nimmo flied to left, then was hit by a pitch in the third. 5th time he's been hit by a pitch this year. Walks and hit batsmen have kept his on-base percentage high. And that slider misses inside, and it's 2-0. Well, the Rays bullpen coming into this series had the worst ERA of any bullpen in the majors. In this series, though, coming into today, in 7 1/3, they had allowed just 1 run.
Nimmo lines one up the middle for a base hit, and the Mets take the lead. Comes in to score is Beatty. Brandon Nimmo drives in his 21st run of the year, and the Mets have 2 runs home in the fourth and a 5-4 lead.
The Mets hitters are treating these Tampa pitchers like target practice. I mean, Kelly just missed getting hit very dangerously in the head. The ball was by him before he moved, so just fortunate it missed him. I can't tell you how fast that ball goes by you when you're only 55 feet away.
Now Marte skies one into shallow right. DeLuca coming on. And DeLuca's got it, and that's the first out of the inning. The Mets treating the Tampa Bay bullpen more like Tampa Bay bullpens have been treated earlier this year. You see the contrast. Here's Lindor, who delivered the keynote in this game with a 2-run homer in the first inning. And then he had a bullet his second time up, lining out to shortstop. That's here with first and second and 1 out. And the backdoor slider in for a strike. 0-2. Now with 19 runs batted in, trying to chase down Nimmo, who has the club lead with 21 out of the leadoff spot. Cutter up and in, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pete Alonso waits to hit next. Mets were up 2-0, down 3-2, tied it. Tampa Bay took the lead again. Mets have regained the lead here in the 4th. 1-2 coming. And the fastball taken low, 2-2. This inning began with Jose Siri dropping a routine pop-up in center field, and the Mets have taken advantage with 3 hits producing 2 runs. Now Lindor tries to shoot one down the line but fouls it off.
Well, like you said, this has been kind of a sloppy game, mirrored here by the play by Series. That should have been an easy catch, and it opened the floodgates for the Mets here in this inning.
Trying to provide further flooding.
Lindor finds the hole, and that's a base hit. Chugging into third is Narvaez. He'll be held up there. And the Mets have the bases loaded for Alonso. 4th hit of the inning for New York, and they've all been hit hard.
Boy, they are just wearing out that right side of the diamond. You know, the pitchers have been pitching a lot behind. This is a right down the middle fastball by Kelly, who's trying to hit the outside corner. And you're going to pay at this level if you can't make your pitches.
Well, Alonso will come to bat with the bases loaded for the 2nd straight at bat, and DJ Stewart trying to provide him some advice. That's a Florida State guy helping out a Florida guy.
You think that doesn't work in this state?
In Florida.
Well, team is more important that you're on now, Gary. That was really interesting to see Stewart there. I bet you he wasn't talking anything about pitches or pitch selection or hitting. I bet you he was just putting his arm around a brethren, a teammate, a guy struggling, and just trying to calm him down and just get a good pitch. Relax.
You're really good.
Yeah.
That's all you have to say.
Forget about it.
You are really good. Just be yourself.
You're one of the best players in the game. Go get him.
He has flied out and popped up 0 for 2. He takes a cutter for a strike, 0-1. And Kelly misses just a little bit low with that sinker, a ball on a strike. Ryan Pepio, the Rays starter, they just announced, left lower leg contusion, X-rays negative. So that's nice to hear. And slider out of the strike zone. It's 2-1 to Alonso. That happened as a result of Starling Marte's liner in the 3rd. And the Rays bullpen is staggering in his wake. 2-1 to Alonso.
And Pete hits one on the ground, a chance for 2. Paredes to Palacios and on to first. Double play ends the inning. The Mets though grab the lead with 2 runs
and lead at 5-4 in the 4th. advertising anytime with the SNY app. Presented by Fanatics Sportsbook. Scan the code and download today. Ahmed Rosario kicking back, DHing today. Luis Severino starts his third time around the batting order with a 1-run lead. It's been a star-crossed afternoon for Severino. He struck out 6 but walked 4 in the first 3 innings. A wild swing and a miss by Yandy Diaz. Diaz drove in 2 with a base hit up the middle right under Severino's glove in the second after drawing a walk in the first. Diaz now 5 for 10 in this series. And the slider just misses away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Diaz, Palacios, and Paredes for the Rays in the 4th.
No, we haven't seen a lot from Severino in this game, Gary. Threw a lot of pitches inside the right-handers in his last start. Not as many in this start.
It's against the Cubs. And this is down with the changeup, and it's 2-2. Severino started the day 5th in the National League in ERA. What a Shota Imanaga. It was after his start against the Mets.
We did see him.
Yeah, we did. 2-2. On the ground, Lindor on the backhand has time. And throws out Diaz, 1 away. Well, the Minnesota Twins have the longest winning streak they've had since their last championship year in 1991. They're going for their 13th straight today. They've got Joe Ryan on the mound. Ryan Jeffers is at a home run, and they're tied with the Red Sox 1-1 in the 4th.
15 in 1991, Gary?
Yeah. Actually, Palacios takes a wild cut. It's kind of been his day so far. Lots of big swings by the Brooklyn native. Came out of Berkeley Carroll School, same school that produced Adam Ottavino. And he faced Ottavino last night and drew a walk in Ottavino's first bad inning really this season.
Yeah, the walks. Again, the problem.
Walked in a run, and then Sean Reed Foley did the same, and those were the 2 runs that were enough to beat the Mets in the 8th inning yesterday. Palacios struck out each of his first 2 at-bats. He's playing second base today. It's only the 3rd time in his career, 2nd time in his Rays career this year that he has started at second base. But he played a lot of second base in the minors and was a shortstop in college at Towson. Tries to hold the swing, and he stopped it in time on a back foot slider, and it's 2-2. 2-2 coming, and he skies one foul down the right side. It hits one of the rings and stays in play, and McNeil catches it. They say it hit the outer ring, so it's out of play. That was a great reaction by McNeil. It hit off the C ring. If it hits the A or B ring, it's in play, but if it hits the C ring in foul territory, which is the outer one, then it's a foul ball, and it's a dead ball. Good extra ground rules in this ball.
Good job by Jeff, though, to play the Karen.
Palacios turns away from an inside fastball, and it's 3-2.
He's like, that's foul.
He knows the rules.
Don't call me out.
He's played here enough. First thing you learn: A ring, B ring, C ring. And that's inside, ball 4, and Palacios is on with the 5th walk given up by Severino. That ties his career high. Well, the big news in baseball this weekend: the very early season trade of the 2-time defending batting champion Luis Arraez from Miami to San Diego. And what did he do? First game with the Padres, hits his first 4 times up. Went 4 for 6 in San Diego's 13-1 win over Arizona.
Had a Tony Gwynn night, didn't he?
And so what happened to the Marlins? The first game they played without Arraez in Oakland, where it never rains. They had a 3.5-hour rain delay, and then they gave up 20 runs.
9-26 are the Marlins now.
Well, Peter Bendix is the president of baseball operations now in Miami. Used to be here in Tampa, and He's taken a very logical approach. He says we really have no chance of making the postseason this year, so we are going to do whatever we need to do to get better. Pitch inside with the runner going. Palacios is safe at second base. McNeil thought maybe he got the tag on the leg of Palacios as he slid by. 5th stolen base of the year for Palacios, and the Mets do not have a challenge.
Look at the footwork of Narvaez. He got rid of that awfully quick, and it was a strong, accurate throw. Palacio to the edge of the bag. Very close play. Just the toe, edge of the toe on the bag.
2nd stolen base of the game, 5th of the series for the Rays. Mets have now given up 47 steals in 49 tries this year. Here's Paredes taking a strike, and it's 3-1.
You know, the one thing about having that oven mitt is that it's hard for you to grab the bag, so you slide right across it, and a lot of times you got to hook that leg to keep contact with the base.
Of course, McNeil is not in position to keep the tag on, so. Well, the only Met catcher to throw out a base runner this year has been Tomas Nido. He's gotten 2. Omar Narvaez is now 0 for 29. Of course, most of it's on the pitchers. Must have not done a good job keeping runners close. And it's up and in to Paredes for ball 4. So the walk parade continues. That's 6 of them today for Severino in 3 1/3.
You know, when you're an accomplished pitcher and you're missing by that much when you're behind in the count, that is an off day.
First time in his career that Severino's ever walked 6 batters in a game. There's no action in the Mets bullpen. It's got a short start from Quintana on Friday night. They had to shuffle some bullpen arms yesterday to get some fresh arms in. Here's a Rosarena chopping one to third. Beatty's going to go to second. Gets the out there. No chance at first. Probably should have taken it to the bag and gotten the lead runner. But we got the 5-4 fielder's choice for the second out. Chance to turn 2 on a ball hit that slowly.
Yeah, but I think he was fearful, Gary, of beating Palacios to the bag. Palacios got some speed, and Brett Beatty does not run that well, so I think he was fearful of that.
So Palacios now the tying run at third with a Rosarena at first and 2 out, and Ahmed Rosario the batter. Rosario struck out both at bats against Severino and takes first pitch slider for a strike. Rosario DHing today for the first time this year. Rosarena runs. No throw by Narvaez. He looks at third, but Palacios was close to the bag. So another stolen base for the Rays. That's the 5th of the year for Rosarena. This was a strike to Rosario, so Severino ahead in the count 0-2 with the tying and lead runs in scoring position.
Narvaez was victimized earlier in the year, throwing that ball through that cost the Mets a run. Chose not to this time.
And time called just as Severino was about to throw the pitch. They're going to call a clock violation against Severino, saying he didn't get that away in time. So it's a 1-2 count to Rosario. That's 5 runs, 7 hits. The Rays 4 runs, 4 hits. Severino trying to dance through trouble again. And he couldn't get Rosario to chase that. And Narvaez was very fortunate to snow cone that ball before it went to the backstop.
Just don't have a lot of movement with that left knee on the ground, so he has to just fling himself really at this pitch that's 2 feet wide of the plate, maybe more.
2-2 coming, and again Narvaez able to stop it, and now it's 3-2 to Rosario. It's going to get some stirring around in their bullpen as Severino continues to have trouble contacting the strike zone.
Side view there, Narvaez throwing his chest in front of that one.
3-2 to Rosario. Caballero would be next. And Rosario pokes one to right center, cutting across his Bader, and he makes the catch. to retire the side. And Severino strands 2 more. The Rays have stranded 7 in the first 4 innings. He's also flied out 0 for 1. Reds have scored in 3 of their first 4 innings, but they've left 5 runners on base in the last 2 innings. Stewart, McNeil, and Bader up against Kelly, the 3rd Tampa Bay pitcher of the day. And DJ checks the swing on a high cutter, and it's 2-1. Ryan Pepio, the Rays starter, at the lead after 2 innings plus after getting struck on the leg by a line drive. He gave up 3 runs, 3 hits. Manuel Rodriguez worked an inning plus, 2 runs and 2 hits. One of those runs unearned. And now Kelly working his 2nd inning, and they get another arm up now. And Stewart flies one foul down the left field line, giving chase as Arozarena. And he gets there at the bullpen mound to make the catch right behind that mound. Just enough foul territory for Arozarena to deny Stewart for the first out.
I mean, this would probably be in the stands in most ballparks except Oakland. But it juts out right past the mound there, and Arozarena makes the play.
It's a good understanding of how much room you have in this ballpark. So 1 out now. Jeff McNeil has been up twice and struck out both times. They got the lefty Garrett Clevenger up in the bullpen now for Tampa Bay. And McNeil takes a cutter for ball 1. And slider misses inside, 2-0. Right now, Jeff McNeil is locked in a 1 for 16 hole. And he just does not look himself.
You know how his feet will move a lot when he has 2 strikes on him, where he's trying to foul pitches off until he gets one to hit. He seems like he's in that 2-strike approach right from the beginning of every at-bat.
Grounds one foul outside first, and it's 2-2. You see last night when that same ball boy tried to make a diving catch and they booed him?
I don't know why they booed him. See his back foot again. Just lots of movement, which makes your head move. Just a little tiny thing like that can.
I don't know how that missed hitting him, but somehow it did, and it's 3-2.
We've seen more pitches from today's pitchers 3 feet or more off the plate. Just
Harrison Bader next. 2nd straight 3-ball count for Kelly. And McNeil takes strike 3 call. Fastball on the inside corner. And Clint Vondrack punches him out for the 2nd out. So McNeil has now struck out all 3 at bats.
Does he catch the plate from this overhead shot we're going to give you? Could have been in, considering his strike zone this afternoon.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Harrison Bader. Harrison hit an innocuous fly ball to center field to open the 4th inning. And Jose Siri dropped it. And that led to a 2-run inning that gave the Mets the lead. And Bader went around on the half swing, and it's 0-2.
The ball ran right in on Bader. Couldn't stop the swing.
One, 2 from Kelly. And the slider, and he went around strike 3. So Bader on a couple of half swings goes down on strikes, and Kelly has a 1-2-3 inning. Still 5-4 New York. with 1 walk for the season. He's walked 4 times in the 3 games. Go figure. Severino goes away with a cutter, and it's a ball and a strike. Let's get the bullpen cranking with Jorge Lopez up behind Severino, who threw a season-high 101 pitches in his last start. Those 101 pitches were enough to get him through 8 innings. It's taken him 90 to get through 4 today, with a career-high 6 walks and 6 strikeouts. Been a weird start all the way around. Caballero, then Alex Jackson and Johnny DeLuca for the Rays, who are trying to sweep a series for the first time this year. 1-2 coming, and Caballero pops it a mile high. Everybody converges, making sure they can find it in the roof. McNeil does and makes the catch 1 away.
That's a good point. You always got to help each other here, because someone could lose it. You want to have 2 or 3 guys there in the area if you can.
Now, after 2 night games in this series, a day game today, does that make a difference in terms of how the roof plays?
I think it depends on how it is outside, but yes, it's a very sunny day here. I think it would make it a little more difficult. No, because it's you and I were discussing it before. It's a cement roof, but with this lining, it makes it feel as though the ball could get lost, of course.
Another pop-up, this one in foul territory. Narvaez had no idea where it was. It didn't matter. It's in the stands. I mean, it's a fabric interior roof, which plays much like the old Metrodome in Minneapolis. What's interesting about the fabric, though, and I don't know if you can see it on TV, it's very dirty.
Yeah.
Because it's impossible for anybody to get up there and clean it, and it's got, decades worth of grime. Grounded down to third, and Beatty with the overhand throw, low, but handled by Alonso, and they're 2 away. And I wonder whether the fact that it's dirty makes it a little bit easier to pick up the ball off that white background.
I mean, it reminds me of a large parachute, but I don't know how you clean it anyway.
Well, there's some of the grime. Nice job, guys. We can do close-ups of dirt better than anybody. Here's Johnny DeLuca, and he hits one past Severino right to McNeil. So Severino, needing a quick inning, gets exactly that. 8 pitches. He gets him out 1, 2, 3. 5-4 after 5. He throws him out easily. He's trying to get it toward third, but didn't work out that way. Let's check in with the studio. Gary Apple has a game break brought to you by your local Honda dealers. Gary. All right, Gary, now with the lefty in the game, Tomas Nido is going to bat for Omar Narvaez. Narvaez went 2 for 2, drove in a run and scored a run. Nido started the first 2 games of this series. A late swing on a first pitch cutter. 0-1. Nido 1 for 6 in this series. And I think more than anything else, even more than the lefty-righty switch here, I think the Mets want his defense in the game with a lead late.
And it gives you a chance maybe to throw out a would-be base stealer. Short sleeves by Nido. Usually he's got the long sleeves. You don't usually get to see the tattoos.
And he goes down swinging. 3 pitches, and Clevenger takes care of Nido for the second out. That's 7 strikeouts for Rays pitchers today. Mets are trying to win a game in this ballpark for the first time since August of 2015.
Say that again?
August of 2015 was the last time the Mets won a game at Tropicana Field. Brandon Nimmo had an RBI single his last time up, 1 for 2. They got swept the last time they were here in 2021. And they've lost the first 2 of this series, so they've lost 7 straight in this ballpark. And Nimmo is hit for the second time today. So Nimmo continues to act like a magnet. He's now been hit 6 times this season.
I mean, this pitch is not even close. Just clips the right elbow pad of Nimmo.
So the Mets have a 2-out base runner for Marte. With the line drive off the leg of Ryan Pepio that knocked him out of the game in the 3rd. That was an infield hit. Otherwise, he's walked and flied out, 1 for 2. We'll be happy to know that Brandon Nimmo now has sole possession of the National League lead in being hit by pitches. It's something about this team. Marcana set the record a couple of years ago. Nimmo's got the career record for the Mets getting hit by a pitch.
No one's going to want to beat that record.
Mets have now been hit 18 times this year. Right up among the league leaders again. It's the 2nd time this year Nimmo's been hit twice in 1 game. 1-2 to Marte. Lindor would be next. And Starling ignores a fastball up and away at 97 from Clevenger.
I know when Ron Hunt came in for that one alumni day, I wanted to ask him what kind of equipment would he wear. Because I'm sure he would have said none. Son.
None. 2-2 coming. Now the breaking ball looped behind 3rd, and they'll go foul. Grabbed by the ball boy. Standing guard duty down in the bullpen.
This is the 2nd one in this series. The bullet the other day. Looks like a player, doesn't he?
Breaking ball misses inside. 3-2 to Marte.
Yeah, I saw this gentleman before. He's got some kind of charting system of taking score or charting pitches. I'm not sure.
It's hard at work. A good view of the on-deck circle. Diaz is going to continue to hold against Nimmo, leaving that hole open on the right side. Nimmo will be running. 3-2, 2 out. And Marte pops one up into shallow right, coming toward the line. DeLuca loses the cap, catches the ball, side retired. Bottom of the 6th, 5-4 New York. Kick off the summer with SNY. You can join us. Scan the code or go to sny.tv/summer for more information and enter today. Jorge Lopez comes out of the bullpen for New York.
Well, just now it's the bullpen's game, and the Mets bullpen has been much better than the Rays.
Lopez had a difficult outing on Friday. Gave up a couple of soft hits and a couple of walks and surrendered a run. Tomas Nido, after pinch hitting, stays in the game. We'll say Siri is sacrificed and flied out 0 for 1. And Lopez goes away with a breaking ball.
Mets bullpen ERA is 2.85. They're striking out 11.5 every 9 innings. OPS of the opponents 584. Extremely low.
Grounded down to 3rd, knocked down by Beatty. Plenty of time because Siri didn't bother running, and he's thrown out. So the mercurial day for Jose Siri continues. That was not a good look coming out of the batter's box after dropping a fly ball earlier in the game.
You don't want to break it down. He almost tripped up Nido when he threw the bat behind him.
Here's Yandy Diaz. Drove in a couple of runs with a 2nd inning single. And he gets dusted by Lopez. Fortunate to get his chin out of the way.
How he kept his balance to stay upright. I mean, look at how he got out of the way, and then he put his hand down here, which helped him from falling.
Jorge Lopez making his 17th appearance in the Mets' first 34 games. I can do that math. And that ties him for the league lead in most appearances. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up that pace, but so far he's been the workhorse. Off the outside corner, 2-0.
Can I ask you a question that I do not know the answer to?
That means you can't be a lawyer.
When he gets dusted like that, does he have to call a timeout to get himself back in the action, or the umpire uses his discretion to give him more time?
I think that the umpire is supposed to wait until he is composed and prepared to resume play before he starts the pitch clock. But of course, the pitch clock is not run by the umpire, it's run by the pitch clock operator. That's lined toward the right field corner, and that's down for another base hit for Yandy Diaz. Well, Diaz came into this series struggling, but he's got 6 hits now in the 3 games. And he's in scoring position with the tying run with 1 out.
Well, it wasn't going to be long because he's just too good of a hitter. Hits the ball, sprays it all over the diamond, has tremendous power to right field, and this pitch, middle of the plate, he takes right down the right field line for a double.
So the tying run in scoring position with 1 out for Richie Palacios. He walked, stole a base his last time up, 0 for 2 on the day. And Lopez darts a fastball inside for ball 1. Luis Severino threw 98 pitches over 5 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, all earned, 6 walks, 6 strikeouts. ERA goes up from 2.31 to 2.93. And Lopez misses with a cutter and falls behind 2-0. It's a weird day for Severino. He had strikeout stuff, but not enough strikes.
I think it's part of one of the reasons that Lopez has success. He's conveniently wild, if that makes sense. He would throw 2 balls not even close, and then he just dotted the inside corner on the 2-0 pitch.
I wanted to say a right-handed Mitch Williams, but that wouldn't be fair.
No.
Because there's only one Mitch Williams. You know, I got to see Mitch Williams pitch when he was an A-ball.
Really?
In Salem, Virginia. You can only imagine how wild he was then. He was in the Texas organization.
Yeah, Texas.
2-2 coming. Swing and a miss. Palacios strikes out for the 3rd time as Lopez gets him with an inside fastball, and there are 2 out.
Did Williams almost fall down on every pitch in those days?
Yes.
Oh.
In those days, though, he didn't throw very many strikes. Now Isaac Paredes has been on base 3 times, a double and 2 walks. Tying run at second, 2 out. And Lopez gets one on the outside third. 0-1. And Mets bullpen has been spectacular. Just no other way to describe it. Too many walks, but that's been the case for the entire staff. On the outside corner with a fastball, and it's 0-2.
2 perfect pitches from Lopez. Can he finish the talented Paredes off?
Paredes has been the best offensive performer for the Rays this year. 0-2 from Lopez. Chopper waiting for it is McNeil. Plenty of time. Side retired. Lopez works around a double in the 6th and keeps the Mets up by a run.
There wasn't a more thoughtful, caring, empathetic writer that I ever met. Always cared about his subjects, and he would sit down in your locker occasionally and you would talk about stuff that had no relation to baseball, and the conversation would go a half hour, 45 minutes, and you know, you were blessed to have met him, and you were honored if he called you your friend.
You know, there's an image of the hard-boiled, hard-edged
right.
New York sports writer, the Oscar Madison image. There's a long fly ball by Lindor, but back in center field goes Siri to get one out. And Dan Castellano was the exact opposite of that stereotype. He was the nicest, warmest, kindest person you could meet, and a great writer. Did an amazing job covering the team.
He really did a great service for the people and Mets fans in New Jersey, and just he'll be missed. I know he's been sick for quite some time, but anyone who crossed paths with Dan was better for it.
Yeah, he was living down in Florida his last years, and he has so many friends in the sports writing and baseball community. Everybody will miss Dan Castellano. Sean Armstrong in for the second time in this series. He was the winning pitcher in the opening game of the series on Friday night. And Alonso having trouble with that upstairs cutter, and it's 1-1. He's gone 0 for 3 today, 1 for his last 27.
Going to have Keith, when he joins you guys in St. Louis tomorrow, to get the magnifying glass out and try to figure out Alonso and what he's going through.
Reed Garrett up in the Mets bullpen. I do know this. There are going to be some pitchers paying a heavy price for this.
Yeah, it's a great line, Gary. Someone's going to pay. Big shift.
2-2 from Armstrong, and Alonso shoots one foul.
You know, this is the team that took advantage of every little thing they could, the Tampa Bay Rays, and shifting. I watched them many games play 4 outfielders against Judge and Stanton for the Yankees.
Not allowed to do that anymore.
Nope.
Gotta have 4 guys on the infield dirt. 2-2 coming, and he struck him out. Got him with the fastball away. Alonso's just messed up right now.
You can tell just by the way he's walking to the bench, just dazed and confused. Happens to everyone who plays this game.
I mean, that was a lower part of the strike zone fastball, and he was under it.
There's no snap in his swing. It seems very, you know, mechanical.
Here's DJ Stewart with 2 out. And he goes after a first pitch fastball and misses. Stewart drew a bases loaded walk in the 3rd, otherwise 0 for 2. Look at that juxtaposition. 190 average, 816 OPS. Schwarber-esque. And he pops this one up on the infield. Yandy Diaz coming in from first to call for it. And he puts it away to retire the side. Armstrong has a 1-2-3 inning, still a 1-run lead for the Mets. Wasn't real.
It's funny you say that, because I did not do that game. And friends of mine say, oh, I can see you guys do like bits on purpose now, don't you? I said, we do not. We cover everything. We never know when something's going to be funny.
Stands up and stretching. That's with a 5-4 lead going to the bottom of the 7th. High-speed hitting brought to you by Spectrum One. Brandon Nimmo at the top of the list today with his 4th inning single. Mets trying for a 2024 rarity today, a win by a starting pitcher. They only have 4 of those this year.
That's right.
And it'll be a weird one for Severino to win on a day he walked 6 batters in 5 innings. Reed Garrett is on to pitch in the bottom of the 7th. He came in to get 1 out yesterday. Faces Randy Arozarena leading off in the 7th and throws a fastball for a strike. 17 innings, 29 strikeouts for Reed Garrett. If you're doing the math, that's 15.4 strikeouts per 9.
One of the things I always find interesting in this job is that each and every year you'll just have someone like an Aaron Loop just jump out of nowhere and become the most important part of your bullpen. And
Arozarena takes one just off the plate. 2 balls and a strike.
I would say of late, though, he's pitched more behind than he did in his first few appearances.
Arozarena takes the slider out of the strike zone. It's 3-1. Randy Arozarena, American League Rookie of the Year in 2021.
Boy, Robbie Ray, it seems like he hasn't thrown a pitch since.
And Arozarena takes a big cut of the fastball. It's 3-2. Ahmed Rosario on deck, then Jose Caballero for the Rays in the 7th. 3-2 coming. And it's on the outside corner. Got him looking at a fastball. Bit of a generous call from Clint Vondrak, whose strike zone has opened up as this game has gone long.
You know, it's difficult for the hitter is that when an umpire sets a precedent of where his strike zone is going to be and he opens it up late, it just makes him confused.
So 1 out now. Ahmed Rosario, who's gone 0 for 3 today. 2 strikeouts and a flyout. Jorge Lopez worked around a double in the 6th to keep the Mets in the lead. Now Garrett trying to hold the fort in the 7th. It's a nasty slider, and it's 0-2. He's been doing more of this lately, keeping that splitter in his back pocket.
You and I talked about that the last time he had made an appearance.
This would be a good spot for it against the free swinger Rosario. Well, he stays with the slider and misses 1-2. Jake Diekman, who pitched for the Rays and pitched very successfully last year, is up in the Mets bullpen. And there's the splitter, grounded to short, circling around it is Lindor. The one-hop throw, not in time. Lindor didn't feel as though he had enough time to backhand and plant, so he ran around it, but the throw came up a little shy, and Rosario has an infield hit.
That was a great example. He wanted to play the backhand, but then he realized it was Rosario, so he had to come get the ball. But by doing that, he put his body in a place where he couldn't get enough on the throw, throwing across his body.
So now Rosario and his base stealing ability carrying the tying run at first. Jose Caballero the batter. And the first pitch fastball for a strike. Rosario last night as a pinch runner stole the 100th base of his major league career, his 4th this season. Rays already have 2 stolen bases today, 5 for the series. Rosario started and stopped, and Caballero took that pitch, anticipating Rosario was going to run. He didn't, but it was out of the strike zone anyway.
Yeah, he took the first pitch as well. That's a good thing to know as a relief pitcher. If a runner's on, Caballero's going to take a couple to allow him to steal.
Stolen bases for the Rays today came with Narvaez behind the plate. Nito taking over late as the only 2 caught stealings for the Mets this year.
Might have a little run and hit situation here.
There goes Rosario. The pitch is high. Nito's throw is right there, and Rosario's out by a mile. Tomas Nito guns down Rosario, and you have to wonder whether Caballero missed a sign.
Well, I'll tell you this, is that Rosario looked into the plate. Caballero ended up hitting his foot with the bat like he was angry that he did miss a sign.
I mean, he did not have a stolen base jump. He had a hit-and-run type jump. And he was out by a healthy margin. 2-1 to count. And Caballero running up his other bunt did not offer at it, and it's 3-1.
Nito just is such quickness and accuracy. I mean, that's as quick as you can get rid of a ball. And even with McNeil coming up to get it, Rosario couldn't even get to the bag.
It's also a perfect pitch to throw a high fastball. Yeah. 2 out and nobody on. 3-1 to Caballero. And a swing and a miss at a fastball. 3-2.
And Gary, you know, another sign that it's hitting a run is the runner will look back to see what the hitter's doing. They look back and he got nothing.
Look back and saw, what the heck you doing?
I better speed up. Nito got all 3 now?
Yes. 3 and a 50. 3-2 coming. And he went to the splitter or a fastball that missed low, ball 4. And Caballero's on with a walk.
Is that Caballero's 3rd walk of the day?
3rd of the day, 5th of the series after having 1 coming in to the series. Now Austin Shenton, who drew the bases loaded walk that gave the Rays the lead last night, is coming on to hit. Nets have the lefty Diekman up in the bullpen. But if you bring in Diekman, you probably see Harold Ramirez or Curtis Mead as a pinch hitter. So I think that Carlos Mendoza would probably prefer this matchup. Shenton is a very patient hitter with great power. And he was certainly patient with Ottavino last night working out that walk. Caballero runs, throwing from his knees. Nito, and Caballero is safe. Caballero steals his 2nd of the day, his 11th of the year.
He didn't get a great jump, so I thought that Nito had a chance. Throws from his knees, but the hop took him out of the play. If the ball didn't hop, they would have had him at 2nd. When that hop happens, the glove goes up before you can set the tag. And Lindor tried to stay with him.
Shenton batting for Alex Jackson. Garrett gives a look back at Caballero. And Shenton with a swing and a miss at a high fastball, 1-1.
With the tying run on 2nd, interesting here, the Mets have Lindor literally on the bag to make sure to take at least a step away from Caballero.
There he goes, and no throw by Nito, as he does not handle the ball cleanly. So Caballero steals 3rd, and that puts the tying run at 3rd base with 2 out.
See, the problem here happens is Lindor was holding him close, but when Lindor backs up, the pitcher's got to throw the ball, and Garrett did not.
1-2 the count to Shenton. And the splitter misses low and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
See the steal. Watch the reaction from Lindor at that stolen base. Just disgusted.
Two coming from Garrett to Shenton. And he flicks one out to left center. On comes Bader. Makes the catch as he falls to the ground. And the side retired. Garrett pitches through trouble in the 7th. Next day up a run.
You just get frustrated as an infielder when you know the game and know how to protect against stolen bases and your pitchers are not in sync.
Here's Harrison Bader, is 0 for 3, reached on an error and scored in the 4th. And he drives one out to right center. Coming on is Siri, and it drops for a base hit. A little duck snort off the bat of Harrison Bader, falls for a hit. And the Mets have a 1-out base runner in the 8th. Let's check in with the studio, see what's coming up on Mets Post-Game Live. Gary Apple and Todd Zeal, guys. All right, guys, we look forward to that. Here's Brett Beatty, who's 1 for 3 on the day. Bader at first with good speed. Not a big lead, though. As Armstrong, this is low and in with a cutter for ball 1. They got the lefty up in the bullpen, Jacob Lopez. not bring him in to face Beatty, though. Nimmo is 2 batters away. In between them is Tomas Nido. Beatty held the swing, and it's 2-0. Meanwhile, Sean Reed Foley is up in the Mets bullpen. Mets would love to get Edwin Diaz a save chance. You know the last time he had a save opportunity?
Like the middle of the month or
April 15th, 3 weeks ago. Have to go from tax day to Cinco de Mayo. There's the 2-0. It's outside 3-0.
Sometimes tax day will make you celebrate Cinco de Mayo early.
Post-filing cerveza.
That's right. Seems to me like Bader is just trying to keep that hole open because he doesn't have any lead at all.
Armstrong's pretty quick to the plate.
Yes, he is. It's funny, they have the shortstop and third baseman over, but the second baseman really in a primary position at second, not to pull.
Beatty fouls one off, and it's 3-2. Just joining us, the Rays starter Ryan Pepio had to leave the game in the 3rd inning after Starling Marte's line drive hit him in the leg. X-rays were negative, but he has a big bruise on his left leg. So the Rays have been in their bullpen since the 3rd. That's got a couple of runs off Manuel Rodriguez, but they didn't get anything in 2 innings against Kevin Kelly or against Garrett Clevenger in his inning. And now Sean Armstrong's working inning in the 3rd and giving up just the 1 hit to Bader. 3-2 to Beatty. See if Bader runs. He does not. And it's inside, ball 4, and the Mets up 2 men on. So 2 aboard. Tomas Nido, the batter. Nido came on as a pinch hitter for Narvaez in the 6th and stayed in, so no chance to bat for him. And of course, what concerns you here most is the double play ball. Nimmo on deck. They've got the lefty ready for him. And the pitching coach Kyle Snyder is going to come out and talk to Armstrong.
Listen, Nido's the kind of hitter he doesn't get to play as often. When he goes in there, he's trying to hit a 3-run homer. Totally understand that. But the way the defense is played for the Tampa Bay Rays against Nido, be a nice time to take a chance on a base hit to the right side. He's going to get most of the pitches from Armstrong will be away. And if he can concentrate on that hole, let get himself an RBI.
Coming up tonight at 11 o'clock on Honda Sports Night. Get you set for the upcoming series in St. Louis. And of course the Rangers and Knicks both heading for their 2nd round dates on Honda Sports Night coming up at 11. So here's Nido up for the 2nd time of the game. And the first pitch cutter misses outside from Armstrong, ball 1. Bader the runner at 2nd, Beatty at 1st with 1 out. And Nido watches that one on the outside corner, a strike, 1-1. Are they saying Mets or Rays? Seems like more Mets than Rays. Two balls and a strike to Nido.
Let's go Mays. It's almost his birthday.
Well, tomorrow is Willie's birthday. He'll be 93. Early happy birthday wishes, Willie. 2-1. And Nido takes that one down, and now Armstrong painting himself into a corner. This is going to be his last batter no matter what. Nimmo will face the lefty Lopez. But Armstrong now in a dangerous spot behind on Nido, 3-1. And Nido fouls one off the right side, and that'll go out of play. Well, we were trying to show you on the scoreboard before they were imploring people to make noise that the Rays are out of mound visits. Get 1 extra in the 9th inning, but they're out of mound visits for the first 8. 3-2 coming to Nido, and he flies one out to right field. DeLuca right there makes the catch. Bader tags. He'll go to third. Holding at first is Beatty. Now 2 out. And you certainly have to expect that they're going to go to the lefty for Nimmo. Although no movement from Kevin Cash yet.
Well, he knows the numbers, and he knows Nimmo is a guy that can hit left-handers.
And it looks like they're going to stay with Armstrong. So why would you have the lefty?
So you have an option.
Yes.
And he opted out.
No history between the two. Nimmo's been on base 3 times in this game, an RBI single, and he's twice been hit by a pitch. And the first fastball is high for ball 1. History, by the way, no Met has ever been hit by a pitch 3 times in a single game. It's never happened.
Really?
Never happened in 63 years of Mets history.
Are you hoping harm on Brandon?
No, I'm just saying you need to be prepared for, you know, a historic call. Up and away, and it's 2-0.
You know, 2-0, I would move Yandy Diaz behind Brett Beatty right now. Nimmo up in the count. Try to take up a little more real estate defensively.
Armstrong's 2-0. And that's on the outside corner, a cutter, 2-1. It would probably be akin to the Mike Baxter 5-walk game in San Diego that set a club record. It was a big moment.
It was
for Mike. Didn't get a lot of headlines.
No pain.
Just the pitchers. And that's low and away, and now it's 3-1 to Nimmo. Starling Marte on deck. Armstrong's already thrown 30 pitches in relief over an inning and 2/3.
Where's the pitching rubber? Barely see it.
All clay, no rubber. And Nimmo swings and fouls one back. Got a pitch to hit there. But now the count's full.
All it's missing is that 6-inch hole that they have in the high school fields.
Diaz coming over to tell Armstrong that he's going to play behind the runner. Beatty will be going. Bader is on third. 3-2 to Nimmo, who now uses his timeout. Armstrong ready for the 3-2. And Nimmo takes the walk. He's on base for the 4th time today, and the Mets have the bases loaded for Marte. So 2 walks after a base hit by Bader, and Armstrong has put himself in the soup.
And Armstrong's body language just speaks to he's just tired.
I think he was thinking he was coming out after Nito, that was it, and that they'd bring the lefty in. Now he's going to face Marte with the bases loaded. Marte 1 for 3. He had the liner off the pitcher's leg that knocked Pepio out of the game in the 3rd. Marte facing Armstrong for the first time. And Starling takes it outside, 1-1. Mets are 0 for 4 with a walk with the bases loaded today. They have not fully taken advantage of their chances. DJ Stewart drew a bases loaded walk in the 3rd. And Marte hits a 2-hopper to short. Caballero shovels to second, and they get the force on Nimmo, who almost ran over Palacios, and that retires the side. 5-4 Mets going to the bottom of the 8th. 1 for 3 on the day. If you'll remember, the last time that Diaz pitched, it was on Thursday against the Cubs, and he worked 2 innings for the first time since coming back from the knee injury. And in a 1-run game, trying to avoid a sweep, Carlos Mendoza will not hesitate to go to him in the 8th if he needs him. And Reed Foley falls behind 2-0. Reed Foley, remember, walked his first batter last night with the bases loaded. He walked Caballero to force in a run before getting an out. Jose Siri on deck, and then Yandy Diaz in the 8th. And now Reed Foley behind 3-0. Meanwhile, in Minnesota, the Twins' 12-game winning streak is on the line. They're down 3-1 to the Red Sox in the 8th. And there's ball 4. So for the second straight night, Reed Foley walks his first batter. That's the 8th walk by Met pitchers today. Mets have already won a game where they walked 10 this year in Los Angeles, but it's hard to go that way.
I don't know how Mendy's not losing his mind, but what can you do?
Now Harold Ramirez is going to bat for Jose Siri. Ramirez started the first game of this series and went 3 for 5. He's the guy you can get to chase. In fact, he has one of the highest chase rates of any hitter in the major leagues. So Ramirez batting for Siri with the tying run at first. Short lead there for DeLuca. And the first pitch will out of the strike zone. That's 5 in a row missed by Reed Foley to start his stint, and Diaz will start throwing a little harder in the bullpen.
Yeah, he's not going to chase if the pitch is not competitive. That was not.
And you got the suddenly re-revved bat of Yandy Diaz on deck. And that slider misses high, and now it's 2-0. Of course, you're in that rules dictated situation where you can't pull Reed Foley before he faces 3 batters. This is only his second. And there finally is a strike.
Well, you put yourself in a situation, Gary, with a 2-0 now 2-1 count. You have to throw to a strike who's bat the ball skills hitter. He's a good hitter if he's swinging at strikes.
And he swings at that one at the top of the zone and comes up empty. It's 2-2. Nito took a little shot that time from Ramirez's bat.
Ball in play.
Which of course raises the question, who's the emergency catcher? Probably Joey Wendell, I would bet. Wendell, the former Ray, has not played at all in this series. 2-2 to Ramirez. Long hold by Reed Foley. Using that pitch clock to get the runner flat-footed, and finally the hitter asks for time. Very interesting.
That was good play.
He came to the set with about 9 on the pitch clock and let it run down to try and freeze DeLuca, and it ended up freezing Ramirez at the plate.
I call that a Scherzer, Gary.
Pitch clock manipulation. 2-2 to Harold Ramirez. DeLuca runs, and it's hit in the air to shallow right. Coming on is Marte, and he makes the catch. Throw back to first, doubles him up. 2 men down. Starling Marte strikes again. Another outfield assist for the active career leader in outfield assists. Marte doubles DeLuca off first. 2 men down.
Well, the last 2 times they've run a runner, Rosario was thrown out, and now DeLuca doubled up. Throwing this ball on the run, a BB and a strike to first base. Reed Foley loves it.
So the 9-3 double play leaves 2 out and nobody on for Yandy Diaz, who's 2 for 3 today, a single and a double. And he lashes 1 foul, nothing in 1.
The runner, as soon as he heard contact, he had to freeze. But DeLuca, the young DeLuca, kept going and got too far. Once that ball's hit behind you in the air, you got to know who's out there in right field.
Really an easy throw for Marte from the short distance he had to cover. Biggest issue was getting to that ball, and once he did, the double play was a layup.
What was great for us is that from our angle, we're looking straight, Marte, the ball to Alonso, but it had about 5 feet of slice on it he had to play for.
Erasmo Ramirez, the former Met, up alongside Jacob Lopez in the Tampa Bay bullpen, getting ready for the top of the 9th. 0-2 to Yandy Diaz, who has 6 hits in this series. 6 for 12. 0-2.
And it's in there for a call, strike 3. Got him looking at a fastball. Diaz was trying to call time, but he asked for it too late. And Reed Foley, helped out by the fly ball double play, gets the Mets through the 8th. To give the Mets an early lead. And he takes a curveball for a strike, 1-1. Johnny DeLuca moves over to play center. Harold Ramirez, who pinch hits, stays in the game in right. Lindor chasing one out of the strike zone. It's 1-2. Pete Alonso on deck. Then DJ Stewart. Edwin Diaz just standing around in the bullpen. He's already warmed up quite a bit. He was up most of that 8th inning. But he's getting ready for his first save opportunity in 3 weeks. 1-2 coming. And it's up and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Rays bullpen, after giving up a couple of runs in the 4th, has held the fort for the last 4 innings to keep this a 1-run game. And it's slided low and inside, full count.
I feel like Mr. Lopez has thrown an entire game in the bullpen before he came in.
It's only his 3rd appearance of the year, 7th of his career. And Lindor gets under one to shallow center. Coming on is DeLuca, and he makes the running grab. He's got that Willie Mays thing going where the cap flies off. It's not something that you see very much anymore. Willie used to wear his cap a little bit too small so that it would always fall off when he started to run because it looked good.
Well, he's got some nice hair, does DeLuca, so why not? They call him Quadzilla because of his legs.
Like Spencer Strider.
Yeah.
Here's Pete Alonso trying to get out of Tampa Bay with 1 good at bat. It's been a rough go for him back in his home environs. He's gone 1 for 11 in this series. J.D. Martinez on deck to bat for DJ Stewart with a lefty in the game. And Pete takes a slider for a strike, and it's 1-1. Jacob Lopez, California native, originally drafted by the Giants. And he throws a slider that Alonso couldn't find, and it's 1-2.
In between is what Carlos Mendoza has said. He's ahead of the breaking ball, behind on the fastball.
Pops this one up on the left side in foul ground, playable for Paredes. And there are 2 out. Well, power hitters go into slumps, but they can find their way out too. Nolan Arenado, whom the Mets will see tomorrow night, 3 RBIs in each of the last 2 games, so he's gotten pointed in the right direction.
Paul Goldschmidt has not.
Exactly. The Cardinals continue to be the last in the National League in runs, last in the National League in home runs. Only their bullpen has kept them afloat. Bullpen's been great. 2 out and nobody on. Here's J.D. Martinez batting for DJ Stewart. Just have to flip the initials around.
Sometimes it's as easy as the calendar changes, you know? Just get out of one month and into the next.
In the last of the 9th, the Rays will have 2, 3, and 4 in their order. Palacios, Paredes, and Arozarena due up against Edwin Diaz.
JD was arguing to the umpire that Jacob Lopez didn't acknowledge him, that it shouldn't be a timeout.
Well, maybe JD was saying that Yandy Diaz should have gotten timeout.
Yeah.
You know, those hitters tend to stick together. As you well know from 19 years of working in the booth next to one.
100%.
That's away, 3-0 to JD. Jeff McNeil on deck. Met fans get another chant going.
JD in his storied career loves to swing at the 3-0 pitch.
Does Jacob Lopez know that?
That's away, ball 4, and so Martinez is on with a 2-out walk, and I think you run for JD here, right?
Run for JD. That'll be Taylor, I would think.
Yep, Tyrone Taylor coming on the field to run for Martinez.
You need an extra run here. I'd love to see Taylor take a base. More difficult against the left-hander, of course.
You know, Taylor has the best sprint speed of any man on the roster, according to StatCast.
Better than Marte, better than Bader?
Better than Bader, better than Marte, better than Lindor.
It's lucky DeGrom's not here anymore.
Well, you're right. Taylor has 3 steals on the year. He's not been caught. Not a very big lead as McNeil steps in. And Jeff takes fastball inside for ball 1. McNeil's 0 for 4 today with 3 strikeouts. He's never had a 4 strikeout game in his career. Now, we mentioned that the Rays were out of mound visits, but you get an extra one in the 9th inning if you're out of mound visits. And so Kyle Snyder is using his overtime mound visit in the 9th.
Then why does it have a 0 in the mound visit?
Well, it said 1.
Oh,
and
okay.
It just went back to 0. They added the 1 at the end of the 8th inning, and now it's back to 0. And then you get more if you get extra.
Make him swing the bat. That's what the universal code there by a pitching coach. When he puts his 2 hands together, make him swing the bat.
Well, after 5 straight balls, that makes sense. I would say that Kyle Snyder has worn out a path to the mound, but you know it's artificial turf, so.
It's funny with the hoodie he's got on and those uniforms. He looks like he could go to church, maybe even in that outfit.
Well, the Rays going with the City Connects 3 straight days. Why not? They won the first 2. Maybe the Mets will someday get a win in their City Connects. 0-3 so far. 1-0 to McNeil with Taylor at first and 2 down. And McNeil takes sinker out of the strike zone. It's 2-0. That's 6 straight balls thrown by Lopez after getting the first 2 outs. That's about only 1 hit since the 4th inning, when they took a 5-4 lead, and they've held it ever since. And that's well out of the strike zone with a slider, and it's 3-0 to McNeil. Harrison Bader would be next.
This is not new to Lopez. He's had an appearance this year where he's walked 3, so.
And there's ball 4, so 8 straight balls thrown by Lopez. Back-to-back 2-out walks and a chance for Harrison Bader, who loves swinging against lefties. Bader today is 1 for 4. A little parachute that fell in for a base hit in the 8th inning. And takes first pitch slider out of the strike zone. That's 9 straight balls. Taylor at second, McNeil at first with 2 down. And Bader swings and flies one into shallow right. Out goes Palacios to call, and that retires the side. 2 walks, 2 left. On to the 9th, Diaz coming in. Well, the last look at the cow-nosed Ray before we leave town. 9th inning. And for the first time since April 15th, Edwin Diaz will come in with a save opportunity. Richie Palacios leads off in the last of the 9th and goes after the first slider from Diaz, 0-1. Edwin's last outing was 2 innings in a non-save situation on Thursday. And Palacios swings over that slider, and it's 0-2. Edwin has 100 saves in his Mets career. Next run will tie him with Billy Wagner for 5th on the Mets all-time list. Hasn't blown a save opportunity since May of 2022, 26 in a row. And Palacios got a piece of that one and fouled it off. Isaac Paredes on deck, and then Randy Arozarena in the bottom of the 9th. Another close game for the Mets. We're 5-3 in one-run games and 5-5 in two-run games. 0-2 coming. Yeah, it's flicked foul, so 4 straight sliders from Diaz, whose fastball's been a little bit short.
Yeah. Well, as he comes back from that injury, before the season started, I said to expect that. But you don't have to throw Palacios a strike here. He's in swing mode.
And he swings at the slider and misses for strike 3. So Diaz has a strikeout to start the last of the 9th. Well, it looks like the Twins' 12-game winning streak is about to come to an end.
Ho hum, the Red Sox had another gem from their starting pitcher.
Here's Paredes, and he swings and misses at a slider. So it's been all breaking balls from Diaz so far. Luis Severino is in line for the win despite walking 6 batters today. This is popped up on the infield, and McNeil comes in a couple of strides to call. 2 out. The last time a Mets starting pitcher got a win in a game where he won 6 or more, Oliver Perez in 2009. Severino's 1 out away. But first, Randy Arozarena, who's gone 0 for 4 today, 1 for 10 in this series. 2 out and nobody on. Arozarena swings and misses at a first pitch slider, 0-1. Does not want to throw his fastball. Nothing but sliders from Diaz in this outing.
Well, why should he? He's got the 100-mile-an-hour rep, even though he can't get there right now.
1-1. And that slider just outside. 2 balls and a strike. Two and 1 to Arozarena, and he fouls off the slider, and now the Rays are down to their final strike.
That was the one pitch Arozarena had to swing. Had a good pitch to hit. Probably won't see another.
Two from Diaz, and he misses with the slider away. Full count. If Arozarena can keep the game going, Ahmed Rosario would be next. Three and 2 to Randy Arozarena. And a high fly ball out to left field. Nimmo back to the warning track at the wall. It's out of here. Randy Arozarena ties the game with a 2-out home run in the bottom of the 9th. And the Rays get even. It's 5-5. Second of the series, 5th of the year for Arozarena, as he takes Diaz deep. Edwin's consecutive save streak ends at 26, and the Rays have tied the game.
Didn't expect Arozarena to see another pitch near the strike zone, but he got a spinning slider that never moved.
Rosario swings and misses it up and in fastball, and it's 0-2.
Just generates so power, always dangerous despite the low batting average. Some point someone's going to pay. Arozarena Made Diaz pay.
And Rosario flicks one to right field. That's in for a base hit. So Ahmed Rosario has his second hit of the day and his fifth in the series, and now the potential winning runners aboard with the speed of Rosario. Well, Edwin Diaz, coming back from major knee surgery, has looked a little more mortal than he did 2 years ago when he was just about untouchable. Yeah. He's going to be wary of the stolen base with Rosario aboard. Jose Caballero, the batter. Rosario runs at. He got a huge jump and steals it without any contention. And now the Rays are a base hit away from winning this game. Caballero has walked 3 times today, stolen 3 bases, and he swings and misses at a slider, and it's 0-2. So for the second straight batter, Diaz gets ahead 0-2. And Caballero goes down on the high fastball, and Diaz puts an end to the inning, but not before Rosarena's home run ties the game. We go to the 10th inning in St. Petersburg with the Mets and Rays tied at 5. Rays about to use 6 pitchers today because their starter Ryan Pepio got hit on the leg by a line drive from Starling Marte in the 3rd. And they've held the Mets off the board since the 4th. Erasmo Ramirez up in the bullpen for Tampa Bay. And Beatty takes that slider inside. Good at bat here for Beatty, laying off the sliders, and it's 3-1.
Yeah, Lopez won't be in there for long if he can't throw strikes.
Tomas Nido on deck, and then Brandon Nimmo for the Mets in the 10th. Each team with 5 runs and 8 hits. 3-1 coming to Beatty. And Brett takes a rip and fouls off the fastball. 3-2. Edwin Diaz has now allowed 3 home runs this year. That equals his total for all of 2022. He threw 19 pitches in that inning. By my count, he threw 3 fastballs.
Yeah, it was either 2 or 3.
Yeah. Three and 2 to Beatty. And Brett fouls off the slider and stays on the at-bat.
You can almost hear the grunt of Beatty on his swing.
That's to be heading to St. Louis after this game to face a Cardinal team that is really struggling. They lost again to the White Sox today, 5-1. Cardinals are now 4 games under 500. Again, the 3-2. And Beatty swings and misses at the slider. And Lopez comes back to strike him out for the first out of the inning.
Good breaking ball here. Gutsy pitch to throw 3-2. Took a little off it as well.
Now Kevin Cash will go to his bullpen again and bring in Erasmo Ramirez. So Lopez goes an inning in the 3rd and exits. 5-5 in the 10th. We'll be right back. Ramirez is on to pitch, facing Tomas Nido with the free runner at 2nd and 1 out. The fly ball out to right. Ramirez moves over to get it. Bader tags at 2nd. He goes to 3rd, but now they're 2 away. Brandon Nimmo has got to get a run in for the Mets. If you don't score in the top of the inning, and you've already used your closer, you're in a deep pile of you-know-what.
A heap of trouble, Gary.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Well, plus you allow the other team to be able to bunt the runner over if they wanted to.
Nimmo's been on base 4 times today with a single, a walk, and twice been hit by a pitch. Bounces one foul on the cutter from Ramirez. Erasmo Ramirez, 6 different big league teams, including the Mets, for whom he pitched in the pandemic year in 2020. very effectively for 6 games. He threw a lot of junk up there. And generally is around the strike zone.
But he can throw every day. He's got a rubber arm.
And he gets the comeback off his glove, though. And Caballero's throw is in time, they say, for the 3rd out. Very close play. The Mets used their challenge earlier, but let's see if we get a crew chief review.
New York is challenging the out call at first base.
I think he dropped the ball, Gary. That's going to be the issue. Diaz folded his glove over, but when he caught it, the ball dropped out of his glove for a split second. That might have allowed Nimmo to touch the bag. I don't know if they'll see that.
This will be the crew chief review, and you can see the ball on the ground on that freeze. The question is, was he holding it in the end of the glove?
Was it like an ice cream cone kind of catch? Boy, that's going to be a hard one to call.
Be a tough one to parse, and of course it represents a run. If Nimmo's safe at first base, then Bader scores the go-ahead run in the top of the 10th. It's not a challenge by the Mets. They don't have a challenge. It's a crew chief review.
So let's say we believe the ball beat him, but when it gets in the glove, see how it comes out partially on its way to the ground. Does he have control of it?
No.
No.
Not at that point.
No.
No, I think that's got to be safe.
That's a good look, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the freeze doesn't really tell the whole story, because on the freeze it looks like he could have a snow cone going there. But when you run it slowly like that, you can see it came out of the glove.
After review, the call in the field is overturned. The runner is safe.
So the Mets take the lead on the overturned call at first base. Bader comes in to score to make it 6-5 New York, and the Rays, who had completely left the field, are going to have to come back out. They're going to score a base hit for Nimmo, his 2nd RBI of the game. 5th time he's been on base today. It was quite a play by Caballero to make it a close play off the deflection by Ramirez, but Nimmo is safe at first.
What is it with these teams leaving the field?
You're not supposed to. I mean, the rule is you're not supposed to leave the field till it's adjudicated.
So Caballero makes a nice play to come in on the run, get rid of it. Yandy Diaz should have just flat out caught it, but he traps it.
Saying I had it. It was all on the field was out.
Well, what he does is after he catches it, Gary, he kind of squashes it into his glove, smothers it on the ground to get control of it again. So did not have control, and the Mets get a run.
So it's 6-5 New York, and now Marte will try and add on. Starling is 1 for 4 and a walk. Nimmo at first with 2 down. This place yields the most bizarre games. It's a weird park, and weird things happen. Marte swings and misses at a fastball, and it's 1-1. Jake Diekman's going to be getting ready for a save opportunity in the bottom of the 10th. The ball on a strike to Marte with Lindor on deck. And that fastball is away. 2 balls and a strike. In the bottom of the 10th, the Rays will have the lower third of the order. Wortvet, DeLuca, and Ramirez, with Caballero, a fast man, as the free runner. 2-1, and that's up and in, and it's 3-1. They've changed the call on the last play. They're going to call it an E3, saying that Nimmo would have been out had Diaz held the ball. So it'll be an error on Diaz and no RBI. Marte fouls it off, 3-2.
I know it seemed pretty harmless at the time, but on the Nido fly ball to right field, you know, it's definitely tag up play. But Bader did tag up, got the third. He wouldn't have probably scored from second base on that play.
Nimmo gets set to run, 3-2 to Marte. It's too high, ball 4, and now Lindor will come up with 2 men on. That's the 7th walk given up by Rays pitchers in this game. Met pitchers have walked 8. 15 walks on a Sunday afternoon. Just a stroll in the park. So now Lindor, who delivered the keynote in this game with a 2-run homer in the first, looks to put the capper on in the 10th. Lindor's home run was his 6th of the year. He also has another base hit that came in the 4th. He's 2 for 5. And Lindor has history against Erasmo Ramirez, 5 for 17 with a couple of home runs.
Get another mound visit in the extra innings, Gary?
Yeah, each extra inning get one more. So they're back down to 0. By the way, the Mets are down to 1.
Come on.
Just see the exhalation of air by Erasmo Ramirez. That's right. What else is going to happen here? He and his teammates were back in the dugout, thought the inning was safely tucked away. But then the overturned call gave the Mets the go-ahead run. Now Marte's aboard as well. 2 on and 2 out for Lindor. And Francisco takes a fastball strike, 0-1. Diekman continuing to toss in the bullpen, getting his timing right for coming in this game in the bottom of the 10th. And Lindor with a mighty hack fouls one back, and it's 0-2. He was looking for a 3-run homer there. We've seen recently, though, with 2 strikes, he's been willing to hit the ball the other way in RBI situations as his bat starts to come around. He flies this one out to left center field. Closing on it is a Rosarena, and that retires the side. So the Mets get an unearned run in the top of the 10th and now hands it to Diekman, 6-5 New York.
Pitching coach Kyle Snyder that righted him last year. He will try to have an outing where the Tampa Bay Rays don't score.
First outing of the series. He last pitched Thursday against the Cubs and worked a scoreless inning. Diekman has 15 saves in his major league career. His last one came 2 years ago with the Red Sox. Jose Caballero will be the free runner, the tying run at second. Dan Rortvedt will be batting for the first time in the game, a left-hand batter. Rortvedt, the former Yankee, started last night and went 2 for 3. So here we go. And he squares to bunt and takes outside. And as that pitch was thrown, Lindor was standing on second base. Caballero has already stolen 3 bases in this game, including third base once. Not like, oh, nice pickup by Nito. Not likely he'd do it here with a left-hand hitter up.
I think because of the lefty-lefty matchup, Cash has worked that bunting all the way.
Maybe not on 2-0?
Yeah, 2-0 he might let him swing, but I know he doesn't like the matchup.
Lindor staying right at the bag to keep Caballero from getting far away. Alonso creeping in from first, and Rortvedt pushes the bunt foul. Not a very nice bunt attempt, 2-1.
You could physically hear Francisco Lindor saying, hey, 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 to Diekman to make sure to look back, because Caballero was trying to get that big lead again.
And he's going, and it's bunted foul. Nito is popping up to try and make the throw. And Rortvedt tried to get a bunt down with Caballero running and fouled it off. I don't understand that at all.
I mean, that's one of those where if you see that jump, you might want to just let it go if you're Rortvedt. That ball almost hit his fingers. I mean, the jump wasn't that great. Nito could have pegged him at third base.
Well, he ended up taking a shot to his thigh instead. Now it's 2-2 to Rortvedt with Johnny DeLuca on deck. Diekman's 2-2, and the slider off the plate. Now it's a full count. The walk would set up the double play, but it would also put the winning run on base. 6-5 New York, bottom of the 10th. Big lead for Caballero. He's running. It's outside. Thrown to third by Nito, and he's safe. A walk to Rortvedt, and Caballero steals his 4th base of the game. And now the tying run is at third, and the potential winning run is at first with nobody out.
You know, this simply is all on the pitchers. The pitchers are not varying their looks to second base, allowing him to get a walking and then running lead. And Nito had a perfect pitch to throw and still couldn't throw him out.
That's the 5th stolen base of the game for the Rays. The Cubs had 6 stolen bases in a game against the Mets on Thursday. It's just an epidemic. So now DeLuca, the infield comes in because DeLuca would be a hard man to double up, and you're trying to choke off that tying run from third. And DeLuca swings and fouls one off on a first pitch fastball from Diekman. That is 9 walks by Met pitchers today. Rays pitchers haven't been much better. They've walked 7. DeLuca drove in a run with a 3rd inning single. He's got 4 RBIs in this series, his first series as a Tampa Bay Ray. And that's lined down the left field line, just foul. That had ball game written all over it. DeLuca just barely missed an extra base hit that certainly would have tied it and could have won it.
A foot foul. Very similar to the hit he had earlier in the game where he kind of reached out and broke his bat and got a hit. Needs a new weapon.
What a wacko ball game.
And if you're Diekman here, you're a veteran pitcher. DeLuca's already proven to you he is just swing mode. He wants to be the hero. So you cannot throw him another strike. Anything off the plate and he'll swing. Marte, the biggest arm, of course, in the Mets outfield.
Speed at third and Caballero. 0-2 coming, and DeLuca fouls it back. He left that changeup right in a hittable spot. DeLuca, who broke his hand during spring training, delayed his arrival with the Rays. Now trying to produce in the 10th inning. Diekman ahead 0-2. And he popped it up. Foul ground. Beatty coming over near the dugout and runs out of room. Cole Sulser, who was just brought up yesterday, is up now in the Mets bullpen. Mets made 2 bullpen moves yesterday. They activated Sulser and Christian Scott, of course, and sent Daniel Nunez and Danny Young down. Try and get some fresh arms in. Right now, though, it's Diekman trying to control this inning. 0-2 to DeLuca. And he lines one to center field. Bader cutting across, dives, can't get it. And that's going to win the game for the Rays. Caballero is in. Rortvedt will circle the bases, and the Rays win it 7-6. Tampa Bay sweeps the 3-game series as Bader, rather than laying up and playing for the tie, made the flat-out dive, came up empty, and the Rays scored twice in the bottom of the 10th to defeat the Mets 7-6.
Well, the Mets were in position to win this game despite the 9 walks by their pitching staff, the 5 stolen bases, and Bader in center field tried to stop the bleeding of this inning. DeLuca out in front again. That ball on the plate. And Bader, who shaded to right center, had a lot of room to cover and just couldn't get the right angle. And once he came up short, it didn't have that ball stay in front of him. The game was over. And the catcher, Rortvedt, that would be the one thing that would make you think about staying back on the ball, having the game just tied, keeping Rortvedt at second base, and living another day.
DeLuca gets credit for a triple to drive in the tying and winning runs. Johnny DeLuca in his first series for the Rays wound up driving in 6 runs in the 3-game series. including 3